all, in this video we will see how to interface a 7-segment display to Arduino Uno. A very simple thing and one of the basic steps that engineers do try out when they start working with Arduino Uno. So we will just talk a little about the 7-segment display before going to Arduino Uno. So this is how the 7-segment display looks like. There will be basically 7 segments, so that is why it's named. You can see this is 1 segment, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So if you see the right symbol, it is a representation in terms of new alphas for each segment. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So this is how we identify the 7-segment display. Now, if you see the 7-segment display here, there are pinouts from this display, starting from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's how it starts. So in these 7 segments, there are 2 types. One is called a common cathode configuration, and the second one is called the common anode configuration. So the one you see here is called a common anode configuration. You can see all the anodes of these the LEDs inside are common. So that is why it is called common anode configuration. So to lit up a particular LED in this segment display, you have to make this pin low such that the current passes from the supply that is provided to COM through this display, and then it powers up. So that means you have to give a voltage that is more than the forward voltage of this diode. So that is how you have to operate this 7-segment LCD. And then these pins, if you see, these pins are connected through resistors to the Arduino Uno board. So, for example, if you take the first pin, it goes through a resistor. So right now we have used 330 ohms resistor, and then goes to a pin. So what we did is, this is how the pin mapping is done. So the first pin of the display, which is E segment, that is this segment, is connected to pin 2, Arduino pin 2 through a resistor. So that's what this table represents. And then, as we mentioned, this is a common anode configuration. The pins 3 and 8, you can see here, they are connected to the 5 volts that is available in the Arduino. So this is how we configure the Arduino, okay, and we basically interface the Arduino to a 7-segment LED display, right? So very simple configuration. As we said, this is what the engineers to start with. So let us see a very crude code which is used where when the engineer starts with where his basic thoughts would be how you would write a code, rather than finishing the line in a simple code. You just try to first execute it and then work on reducing the code size. So that's how the approach generally would be by the engineer. So we will see the code and explain each and every step. This is the basic sketch of the Arduino code. You can see here. So in the setup, what we are doing is, we are just trying to set the pin modes to output. So why we need to set them the output is, basically we are trying to drive 0 from the microcontroller pin, so that the cathode of that LED goes low, and the diode starts conducting. So that's why you mention your Arduino pins as outputs, and then once it is output and we give 0, the pin sinks the current. So you can see 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if you remember the table we have shown, these are the pins that are used. So that is part of the setup. And then we have a global variable where you have variable declared, which is 0. And then what we are doing is, we are entering the main loop, and here all the pins are set to high. So why we are setting all these pins to high is, initially when you are doing when you power on, nothing should come up, right? There should not be any default state. I mean default number display on the 7 segment display. All the pins should be to default states. Nothing should operate, and we should start from a known state. So that is why these are all set to high. So you can see same pins are set to high, and then we are just giving some delay. So we will talk about this delay function, and we will calculate the approximate time that is taken when we give 500 here in the 500 here in the future videos. And then what a very crude method is used, where we are using a switch function, switch statement, sorry, to switch between different cases. So the switch statement here takes a num variable which is declared here, which is 0. So it starts with 0 and then it goes here. If you see, we are trying to display 0 here. That's why the case name is also mentioned as 0. So if you remember the display, the 7 segment display, if you want to have 0, the top segment should display 0. So the top segments are connected to 2, 3, 4, 8 and 9. So that means you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 segments to be low. That is how we have done here. And then we are giving a delay. And what we are doing is we are just trying to increment num, so that we are in a loop, and continuously the code runs, and once the switch case is executed and num is incremented, this breaks out of switch case, and as it is a loop and it again comes here, the num value will be 1 and it goes to next case. So similarly, again it is incremented here, and num becomes 2 after executing this case, and in the loop it comes to switch of 2, it goes here, so till 9. And once 9 is displayed, right, what we are doing is we are making it 0, num 0. So when you make num 0, you are again coming to case 0, you are performing the operation and then incrementing the num. So a continuous loop is operated with each number incrementing automatically. So that's how we have written the code. So if you want this code, if you want to try out as the basic code and optimize further, you can visit our blog, embeddedDesignBlog.blogspot.com, and then check out for 7 segment display with Arduino article to see this code there. So a very simple code. Any beginner can easily write this code, because this is a very crude method. There are different methods you can think over, and write this code by using a simple for loop and incremental operations. So you can try out that, but for a beginner it is better you do this, understand what is happening, and then move to those optimized methods. So I will show you on the board how the display is happening. You can see we have connected the 7 segment display, and you can see the resistors, and these resistors other end are connected to the Arduino Uno board, and you see the number automatically incrementing, and as shown in the code, once it goes to 0, once it goes to 9, it gets changed to 0 again, it increments till 9, and it comes back to 0 again. So this is how the simple code is written, and a very we can say a very basic step when you start working on Arduino Uno. Only thing is, while connecting, be careful you don't short these pins, because the segment LEDs might get damaged if you try to give more current. So one of the important consideration you have to see is have resistors of sufficient values so that display comes up properly. So we have used 330 ohms as we mentioned. You can try around with different resistors. Thank you.